Alright, new project. I've got to keep my projects kind of together. I think I'm going to do this project first before I start doing my next one, which I'll explain later. But let me open up some boxes here, show you what's going on. Ignore those. These here, I'll explain later. Okay, I got a lot of stuff here. I'd saved all my money from Christmas time because I was stuck in Hawaii. I know what a terrible problem that was, but stuck in Hawaii, couldn't leave the ship really, didn't come home. I've only been home for 21 days, I think, 20 days, and I've already spent all of that. What I got going on here is a front disc brake conversion from Speedway and the 9-inch rear conversion here. So I'm going to give it a shot. I bought some spacers right here for the spindles to see if I can use my original wheels. I really don't want to change those out, so this is the next plan here. Another thing I need to look into is a new camera. This GoPro is super old, and I've got one battery left. All the other ones, while I was gone, expanded, so they're garbage. But let me go find my jack, get her lifted up here, and get started. Kind of greasy, actually. It's weird. I don't know. It's alright. We'll give this a shot. Alright, got to this point. I took down the drum brake, took off all of the accoutrement to it, and anyway, I'm gonna be using the spindle, but with, of course, the bolts that are provided with the kit, which aren't terrible, they're great, grade 8. They don't fit in my spindle all the way. So even in the instructions it says this might happen, so you've got to take a drill and just kind of dig that out just a tiny bit. It'll fit from the backside, but you're not going to be putting your bolts through from the back. But on mine, got to drill those out a little bit, just to make sure they fit. So you're going to use, there's 2 different size bolts too, just length. All right, you're going to use the short ones on the top and long ones on the bottom, and then you got to put your bracket on. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out these holes first before I start doing anything else. And I did put this in there just to hold it up. I'll flip it over here in a minute, but yep, stand by. Okay, so I am a dum-dum, and anyway, I was like, why is it this fitting? Well, it's because I forgot to put the spacer in, so let me get that in there. Well, another day. Alright, it's the next day, and I've got to the point where I'm sitting, the spindle bear bracket is installed, wheel is off to the side there, but I've got to grease the wheel bearings to put in here. I did have to draw in the new studs. They are 3 inches long, so that I can use this spacer. That's what's recommended throughout various forums, informational posts and whatnot. We're gonna give it a try though, because I do not want to change my wheels. Anyway, I had to go to, where did I go? O'Reilly's, and found this stupid $20 part. It's a tool to install your wheel bearings. So just place it on there, put your nut on, drive it on. At least they fit. So I can always cut these studs down later if I need to, depending on the size it sticks out from the wheel. So anyway, I'm gonna get going, packing the wheel bearings, because for whatever reason I can't find my tube, I'm sorry, not my tube, but my tub of wheel bearing grease, so I had to go find this in the shed. I'm gonna put it in my pistol grip over here and give this a try, but we'll see. My eyes are playing tricks on me, but anyway, it's in. I gotta just grease up the the outer, and then go ahead and install this on. You know, I'm just mocking this up right now, but on the forums, it literally states that you've gotta grind something down in order for this to fit right. I don't even have the pads in yet, so I'm gonna show you where it's actually hitting. Top bolt right here. So I'm going to grind this down just a little right in this area, so it'll clear that nut. It's not affecting anything on the casting where the sealing surfaces, or where the brake pads are touching. So let me grind that off and make sure I'm doing this correctly. That looks like it'll clear once that happens. So make sure your bleeder screw is in the up position. and then that's where the brake hose is going to go. Okay, that's as far as I ground that down. Really poor lighting, sorry. Maybe a ½ inch off. Just kind of ground that until it fit, and then with no clearance issue. So sitting between the bracket properly, we can go ahead and put the what am I trying to say? The brake pads in. I'm really curious if my wheel is going to fit with this on there. So I'm actually going to put the spacer on, tighten this up real quick just to leave it where it's at, and see if my wheel will fit. Alright, fast forward just a few minutes. I decided to go ahead and put the wheel on just to check, make sure that I have good clearance. Yes, under the cotter pin is not bent over yet because I still got to set the wheel. Spindle not there. I've got really good clearance right now. No dragging, nothing hitting. These are with the longer wheel studs. The other ones barely would have fit through, so I'm glad I went with the 3-inch ones. Hubcap will fit without having to do anything about those studs. It'll be just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it that way. Take the wheel back off and finish putting the caliper together. So I'm setting. Okay. Well, I ran into a problem and I took the caliper back off because this is important if you're going to do this project. Is this little lock stud that hits the axle if you have a straight axle 63 and older. This hits this to prevent you from oversteering. So this is not far enough outward, meaning like proud, to stop the caliper from hitting on the axle right here. So I'm gonna have to probably take all this back off because that stud is stuck, and I've put some heat to it. But if I take all this off and just break it off or cut it off and drill it out, it would save me a lot of time. So I might just do that, but to you, it's a split second. For me, it's a couple days. Whole pile of tools and none of these things worked. So what I ended up doing, I had one of these gimmick things that you got at Lowe's a long time ago. They're called extreme access sockets. Look like that. Really funky looking. Then they have a ratchet that goes with it. And anyway, it's sized 3/4, and I was able to put 3/4 wrench on there and get it going. I have to tap it with a hammer every once in a while, give it some heat, but I'm getting it to move. It's going to take me a while. Alright, so I want to show you what is actually happening here. I've backed that lock bolt out a little bit further. When you put it lock to lock, turn this thing on. Alright, I'm not even at lock to lock, and the caliper is about to hit the axle. So if you look down here, I've got ½ an inch to go. So I've got to put I need to put a longer bolt down in here. So I'll back that thing out. I'll find some, and we definitely will be putting some Loctite on those things when I get this done. Alright, so my back is hurting, and I've been at this most of the day because I'm a dum-dum and nothing ever happens in a hurry around here. So let me finish this up real quick and I'll be back to you tomorrow. Alright, so driver's side is done, with the exception of the brake hose, because I've got to put that in. No rubbing, no nothing. What you hear, it's just the brake pad just resting against the rotor. Everything's looking really good. Adjusted the nut that's up here for the steering lock. It goes all the way to the edge of the frame, so I don't got a lot of room there. I could take it out, put a longer bolt in, but I don't think that'll be necessary. I'm gonna lock it down. Next is passenger side, and I've got to learn a way to route my hose here, or my hose up to the hard line. So that's all that's left. I gave everything a good grease up with the joints, and things are looking good. Remember, 200 miles on this thing. Very nice. Alright, we're gonna get all that off. Might as well just take this off. Alright, my brake hose is off the back now. It's right here. So these don't have swivels on them, so they're just going to get caught up and spun around if you just kept trying with this. So anyway, let me get the rest of these bolts off. Alright, mistake I made on the other side was I didn't loosen this bolt up. Sorry, the shadow's in the way. That one there. So I'm going to go ahead and break that free while it's still on the ground and give that a shot. Okay, these studs on my application need to come out. It's the wrong one. And also this race here also has to come out. It says it in the instructions, and they provide the new race that goes with it. Okay, so it's not like you're just doing this blind. Do not leave that in there. Switch it out. Alright, I'm gonna go knock these out. First, gotta knock that race out. If you've been watching my channel for any number of years, you probably had seen this old-fashioned vintage Craftsman. It's orange. It's same 16 ounce. It was my mother's. She got it as a one of her tool kits. She was going to school at Wentworth, or I'm sorry, not Wentworth, Weymouth, in the Boston area, Weymouth Institute. Anyway, she got that tool, and then it ended up in my dad's toolbox, and then I somehow ended up with it probably 25 years ago. Anyway, I can't find it. It is somewhere in the house, somewhere in the shed, somewhere in the garage. I don't know. I've only been home for a couple days, so I've got to clean up a little bit, but I want to get this done. So, new vintage, right? This thing I bought a couple years ago. I guess it'll do, but let me knock this race out. Alright, there she is. Doesn't fit the correct inner bearing, so make sure this goes in the trash. You can't use it. Okay, I've got the caliper right here, and just this nub on this particular setup, you have to grind that down, so it's to clear a bolt. Let me get to that. Alright, so I'm back up under here, and on my truck, the spindle, I have to drill out the holes just tiny bit, because it's not going to go all the way through. So, not acceptable. It even says it in the instructions to just go ahead and drill this out a little bit. So I'm going to do that here off camera. Okay, mine's loosely on there right now. Make sure you put the longer bolts on the bottom, and then the shorter of the bolts with the spacers right here. It says that these are lock nuts back there, but I'm going to go ahead and put Loctite on it just because I don't trust that. But, okay, I'm glad that I had moved this bolt, because it's even harder to get. This is the stopper, so I have to adjust that once I put the caliper on, so it doesn't hit the axle right here. So let me go ahead and tighten these up. They're 119 foot-pounds or something like that. It's something ridiculous, so let me get to it. Okay, so bracket is on. Everything is torqued down. What a pain, but you can do it. Okay, next, I'm going to go ahead and take the bearings, go ahead and grease these. I'm going to pack them up. Everybody has seen it. Maybe, I'm sure you've done it if you're at this point. If not, don't know how to do it, go ahead and just search another how how to pack bearings, because I'm not going to do that right now. Then I'm going to go ahead and insert here and then put that up there. So stand by. Alright, so the bearing is packed and just placed inside. I run it around, just make sure it's got a good seat. Now you got to put the ring in, the oil ring, or grease seal at this point. So anyway, get your kit out. I don't like doing it any other way, but I'll use my kit here and I'll just tap this in and get it nice and flush on there. Then I'm going to go ahead and install up onto this spindle. Okay, I just set the caliper on. No brake pads yet, because I wanted to make sure you see where you have to grind down. So this is as much as I took off, just to clear that bolt. You don't have to be as aggressive as I did, but it works for me. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this caliper together, clean off the rotor. Then I'm going to adjust that so that we don't hit the axle with it. Okay, brake pads are in, and I've set the nut down there on the, where is it here? Right there. Okay, so we're hitting the axle with the stopper instead of the caliper right here. Okay, make sure you do that. Okay, after all of that installation, the only thing I got left are the caliper slide bolts that were on the caliper when it came out of the box. The instructions state to use the correct GM caliber slide bolts. So took them out of the little package and put them in. So easy enough, right? So that's it for the front disc brake installation. There's still more to it for brake booster and a I think I might have to change out the master cylinder. So onward to the brakes.